Hey everybody, it is the Christian Jamaican Coolie back at it again with another video. Now, in this video, I want to address something that I think is very important. I think it's something that definitely needs to be addressed, something that I definitely need to talk about, and it's about how to sustain a traditional marriage. And when I say traditional marriage, I mean a man going outside and working and a woman staying home and taking care of the home and the children and etc. Now couple things I want to say before I even dive into my advice of how to sustain a traditional marriage, which is what my wife and I are in right now. Never ever ask any woman to marry you unless you have a plan. Never ever expect any woman to be a traditional woman if you yourself is not a traditional man. And the reason why I say this is because, in many videos in the past I said it's not every man that is married is actually a husband, and not every woman that is married is actually a wife. And what I basically mean by that is that you have people who basically, in Jamaican terms, they play dolly house, they play doll house. This is just something that they do for fun. It's not something that they actually take serious. It's not something that they take time to build, etc. I am in a traditional marriage, and the truth about it is that it's not easy. Marriage is not easy. Marriage takes a lot of work. My wife and I, we've been together for 6 years. We've been married for 5. And our marriage has had its great, beautiful, wonderful times, and it's also hit very low, rock bottom, areas as well. But my wife and I we have withstood the test of time through the power of Yah, and we have, our marriage is still going thanks to Yah. Anyway, I want to give you guys some tips, especially men. Some of you, I know there are men out there who want traditional women, but they don't behave like traditional men. They want women to pay half the bills, etc., and turn around and clean up the home and also take care of the children. That's not a traditional marriage. If you want a traditional wife, you yourself have to be a traditional husband. As a matter of fact, a lot of men don't know what it means to be a husband, and I would direct these men that in order to be a husband, you pick up the Bible and see what it says a husband is, and then you try to basically copy and paste that onto yourself, and you practice it, you live it, you understand, you do it daily. And then when you feel like you're ready, then you read up on what a wife is supposed to be in the Bible, and then you look for a woman who is basically like that, or a woman who is moldable. What do I mean by that? Well, the truth of the matter is, I'm going to say it, don't marry anybody that is over 25 years old. When I met my wife, she was 24, going on to 25 when we got married, and she was very moldable. However, she was coming off of the black woman mindset of a whole lot of masculinity, whereas she said that she had to learn through classes. She had to take femininity classes. I remember when I spoke to my wife on our first date, she seemed like such a wonderful person, and she had to express and explain all of this to me, that she didn't know what it meant to be feminine because of the life that she went through and experienced, not just with other women, but because of men. All right, so more on that later in terms of what black women actually go through in their societies because of both female and males. You understand? Anyway, when my wife and I met, one of the main things that we did as our relationship progressed is that, we talked about our goals. And, as we got close to being married, I expressed what it is that I expected of her. I told her.
Bixby voice privacy contents have been updated. To continue, review the updated items on your screen.
You notice that's my next phone. Look at Google. Look at Google basically, listening to my conversation. But anyway, my wife and I basically we sat down, we had the conversation about, rules, duties and things like that. And I basically expressed to her that I want her to stay home and take care of our child and the home and stuff like that. And I will go out there, I'll bring back the bacon, I'll pay the bills. And that's one of the main things that I think people need to do. People need to sit down and seriously have those conversations about, what it is that you want your marriage to be and how it is that you're going to get it done. I think that was what we didn't do. We talked about what we wanted the marriage to be, but we never talked about how to get it done. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that a lot of people should do. Don't just talk about what you want the marriage to be. You need to talk about like little snippets about how we're going to get this done. How is each person going to be able to commit to their role? How is each person going to be able to get their role done? You understand what I'm saying? So when we were getting serious, I told my wife, hey, listen, she was pregnant with our child at the time, and especially the reason why we got even married earlier than expected is because we both of us did not want our child to be born out of wedlock. All right, so she was like, we don't want the child to, and I was like, yeah, I agree. I don't want our child to be born out of wedlock. I don't want our child to not see us together. I don't want our child to be brought up in a dysfunctional society of not knowing that this is not a norm, and even if it is not a norm, it's not an okay norm. So we got married and we expressed to each other just what it is that we want each other to do. I expressed that I want her to stay home, take care of the children, take care of the home, and she expressed that she was okay with that, and she wants me to basically bring home the bacon, pay the bills, protect the family, establish male dominance and leadership in our relationship. All right. Let's fast forward now. We're together. We're going to be married for 5 years this year. We're going to be together for 6 years. What can I say in terms of an update? We have certainly learned a lot from each other. We have learned a lot from each other. And what I've learned is that it's sometimes it's difficult to just say that this is your role and this is my role and stuff like that, because there are times where she may need help with her role with certain things, and there are times I'm frustrated with that, because sometimes I'm saying like, you have your role and I have my role, and I gave you something to do, you promised you would do this and you're unable to do it. But to me, that's kind of callous. That's kind of callous of me sometimes to behave like that, in terms of like, I gave you something to do and this is your role and blah 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 blah, and you can't even fulfill the role that was given to you, blah blah blah. That's callous. That's a very callous way of thinking. Yes, she has her duty. Yes, she's supposed to fulfill them. But the thing about it is that what I still have to learn is that this whole thing, this marriage, it's still a learning process of how to continually make it work while we continue to introduce children into the mix of our marriage. You know, so there are times where I'm callous, she's callous, and we're hard on each other. We speak very, very harshly to each other. You know, so one of the main things that I actually love about our marriage is the makeup. And I realized that over the years, makeup bedroom is ridiculously pleasurable. Makeup bedroom is ridiculously pleasurable. I don't know why, but it's like after you've had an extremely harsh argument, and I mean extremely harsh argument, makeup bedroom is so pleasurable that it makes you really and truly forget why you were arguing in the first place. There are times where, you know, we basically like for 3 days in a row we're like destroying the house, you know, with makeup bedroom stuff after I think it was like 10 minutes of a harsh argument. 3 days straight mashing up the whole house with some makeup pleasurables. And right? And then it's like on the third day, I was like, hey, you remember what the argument was about? It's just like, nah, I didn't care after the first time. You know what I mean? So I think it's very important that as couples, that yes, arguments are going to happen, differences are going to happen, these conflicts are going to happen, but you should indeed make an effort to make up, because you still have to live with that person. You understand? Don't hold a grudge. That's the next thing too. Don't hold a grudge. You understand? Don't hold a grudge. And try to do your best and work things out. Now, I know that there's a saying about happy wife, happy life. I don't believe in that. And I've told people many times. Whereas, you know, even I've went to weddings where we condition men to say things like, yes, honey. I went to a wedding of a friend a couple years ago, and basically they were at the banquet afterwards, and they were saying to him, repeat after me. Yes, honey. And I was like, I don't believe in that, because what you're doing is conditioning him to always feel that even when he's right, he's wrong. And what you're doing is to condition the woman that even if she's wrong, she's right. And we should never condition people like that, because we're building a society where one gender is being, or one gender is, not even is being, but one gender is pedestalized and one gender is demonized. And the problem with that is that, you know, the male gender is the gender that basically built society. It basically maintains society and making sure that society is, you know, operational. It also the male gender is the gender that basically still protects society. You understand what I'm saying? I know you're going to tell me that, you know, you're female in the military, but it's not a high percentage as males, you know, joining the military. And they will never be as combat strong as the males that they are facing, that number one, or the males that they are competing against, that's number two. You understand? Like I said before, I don't believe in this whole foolishness in society where we're doing a lot of very immoral and backwards things that is causing our society to fail, and it's falling flat on its face, and everybody sees it. You understand? Everybody is seeing what is going on, and, you know, whatever. But anyway, let me get back to, you know, the things that I've experienced that helps a traditional marriage to be sustained. Whatever your wife wants in terms of like equipment to make her job in the home easier, buy it. Save some money, put down some money aside, and buy it. You know, my wife always wants stuff and I always buy it for her. I don't buy it on the birthday, I buy it for her. She wants a new washing machine. We just got a new washing machine the other day. You know, Samsung, she loves Samsung, so I got her a Samsung washing machine. You know, my thing is this though. My thing is that I'm always the type of person where I'm always trying to save money and stuff like that. And I understand. And I know my wife understands why I'm always trying to save money, because I'm always trying to save money because you can never plan for anything. And the least you can do is even have just a little bit saved up for when things go wrong, when your car needs to be fixed, when you need this as an emergency, when you need a hefty $800 to cover some sort of bill. You know, my wife knows that I'm always trying to put money down aside so that, you know, a rainy day or stormy day, stuff like that. You understand what I'm saying? But at the same time too, I need to understand that there are things that the home definitely needs in order to run like a well-oiled machine. You understand? I can't sit down and ask my wife to take care of the home, run the home well, clean the house, and you know, she don't have a washing machine to wash 3 children's clothes, plus her mother, because her mother lives with us, plus my clothes, plus her clothes. You know, I'm expecting her to stay clean herself. I'm expecting her to cook my dinner and stuff like that. Do you understand what I'm saying, people? If your wife needs certain things to make her job in the home a lot easier and you don't have the money, I suggest put on some money and buy it, or buy a used version of it. You understand what I'm saying? My wife need a washing machine, bought it. The dryer in the house, it's not really working so well, so I'm going to be tackling that later. I'm going to be fixing that. So, and then when the time comes, we're going to be buying a new dryer as well to match the new washing machine that we just bought, another Samsung. Lord help this woman on her Samsung stuff. Yeah, if your wife needs something in the home, it is my advice that if this thing will make the job in the home a whole lot easier and her life a little less stressful, then you should buy it. You should buy it. You should purchase it. You know, make your wife's job easier. Because I know, you know, you might, if your wife saw something, she probably would want to buy it to make your life easier as well. So, you know, unless you really and truly don't have the money, you know, I understand. But if we don't have the money, what I tell my wife is that I usually ask a series of questions. How badly you need it? What's the price? And can you wait a couple of weeks to let me hustle the money and get this for you? And that's what I always do. I don't always tell my wife no, but I do tell my wife not yet. That's something I generally try to do. I try to generally not always tell my wife no. When I know she really needs something and we don't have it, I just tell her not yet. You understand? I tell her, say, hey, give me some time, let me hustle, let me get the money, and then you can have it. But right now, you know, these bills need to be paid, that bill needs to be paid and stuff like that. So I'm not telling her no. I'm not telling her that she can't get that brand new washing machine. I'm not telling her she can't get that brand new Keurig. I'm not telling her she can't get that brand new air fryer, all that blah, 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 blah. There are times I even get up and I buy her stuff like this because I know my wife loves to cook. My wife, generally, she loves to cook. You understand? She said she needed a certain type of mop. She said this mop is the mop that she need. I bought her the mop. You understand? It's a little bucket thing. You put the mop in. You press your foot on the lever, and it spins the mop dry. She wanted that. I got it for her. I didn't care how much it cost, because it's going to make her life easier and my life easier too. Where she's not going to be stuck. And worse, she's pregnant right now. You understand? You want to make sure that there's a level of comfort that she is supposed to have. And the truth of the matter is, women are not used to being uncomfortable. We have to be honest with that, man. Women just aren't. They're just not used to being uncomfortable. We are used to being uncomfortable. Women are not. So, you know, she said no, there are times I bought her like every single vacuum she wanted. I bought her. She wanted a treadmill. I got her the treadmill. She wanted a cycle to lose her weight. I got her the cycle, even though she rarely ever use it because she has so much housework to do. Whatever it is that my wife seeks or she's asking for, I don't tell her no, right? I look into it first, I think about it, and I say, honey, give me some time to hustle up the money. You understand? Give me some time to hustle up the money. Because that's the most important part. Go hustle up the money. You understand? Because I treat my wife and sometimes like how I would treat myself in a positive way. If I really and truly needed something, I would go. I wouldn't buy the thing right away. You understand? Especially if I was broke, I wouldn't buy it right away. But I would tell myself, be patient. I would work for it. I would save for it. And then I would buy it. So, even the Bible tells you, that the two shall become one flesh. And the Bible says that you should treat your wife like how you treat yourself, because no man hates himself. No man hates himself. So if you treat your wife like how you treat yourself in a positive way, you will have a very stellar marriage. My final point for this video, because I'm gonna probably make a 2-part video. My final point for this video is treat your wife like a human being. Do not pedestalize her. Don't be critical of her, but don't be overcritical. Because I've realized in some of our arguments, when I'm overcritical, I end up shattering my wife sometimes. And it's not good, because the look I see on her, it makes me feel extremely bad sometimes of how harsh I'm talking to her. So whenever you have an argument, try to stay within certain bounds that it doesn't go too far. Get your point across. Let them know that you're upset sometimes. Try not to cut them deep. You understand? And there will be cuts, regardless, But don't go out of bounds. And a lot of you know what I'm talking about. Don't go out of bounds in an argument that you know that it's really hard to recover from it, and then you turn around as the man. You go on for the stuff around the house. You go on for take her somewhere special. You go on for you have to go put down something real harsh in the bedroom. Put on something real harsh in the bedroom and fling the foot up into the ear and all those stuff, and throw her all over, yeet her all over the bedroom and all those things. You understand what I'm saying? So be mindful. We as men are always telling women to be mindful of the things they say and to speak logically. I want to also encourage other men, other married men, that whenever you get into an argument with your wife, think logically. Try to think as logical as you can before you utter your words. You understand? And I'm not saying that you should I don't believe that any man should walk away from an argument with their wife unless the argument is leading for you to be upset enough that you feel like you're going to smack that woman down. Because I can be honest with you, I guess we've all been there. You understand what I'm saying? Women have a mouth that, as the Bible says, the tongue is sharper than any two-edged sword. And when a woman says certain things, it's not that it cuts you, but it aggravates, agitates, and it makes you extremely angry. And then you're like, you can't say certain things, and you just want to do stuff. So you have to be extremely logical. You have to try to be the logical one. I'm tired of being the bigger one. It's not. It's just the role that we're given. It's the role that we're given. We have to be the bigger one. You understand? Yes, it shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. And then with society the way that it is right now, you don't want to get yourself in trouble. People call, the authorities on you, the police on you, and then you get taken away, and your wife now regret it because you and her was just having an argument, and she didn't mean for that to happen. So you too, as a man, you have to be careful. You have to be careful with the things you say, and you have to be careful how you do. You understand? These are my advice for, you know, sustaining a very healthy, you know, traditional marriage. You know what I mean? If you want to keep your wife in the home, you have to go out there. You have to be a man. You have to be a husband. You understand? Husband works hard. Husband basically, you know, bring home the bacon so the wife don't have to worry about her having to go out there and bring home the bacon. You know what I mean? So if you don't want your wife to be working, then you have to work extra what your wife probably would have made if she was working. And I think that's a very important point to make. You understand? If you want your wife to stay home, you have to make double. You understand? Some of these men, they want a traditional woman, but they don't want to put in the work that it would take to sustain a traditional woman. So, to me, honestly, what you're looking for is a bed wench. You're not looking for a traditional wife. Because regardless, a traditional wife, she's in need of things. She's in need of shelter. She's in need of utilities. She's in need of clothing. Because you have to buy her clothing, you know. You have to basically be buying her clothing after this. You have to be giving her money to go buy clothing now. You understand? You are the person who's basically making sure that she has certain things. I mean, if my wife wants to do certain things on the side, I'm okay with that. Like, if she wants to do, like, certain affiliate businesses and stuff like that. But I still talk to her and say, yo, the workforce is very stressful. I would prefer if you stay in your house, because I don't want to come home to a stressful woman. You understand? I don't want to come home to that. I really and truly don't want. I'd rather hear her moan and complain about the children than hear her moan and complain about work that she shouldn't be doing in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, this is the Christian Jamaican Coolie. Peace. I'm out.